Redcore Linux just had a new release. Redcore Linux 1812 was just released a couple of days ago. Redcore is a Gentoo-based Linux distribution. Kind of new, hasn't been around that long. I've taken a look at Redcore 4, maybe 5 times on the channel in the past year and a half that I've been doing this YouTube channel. One of my favorite Gentoo-based Linux distributions. I'm always impressed every time I take a look at Redcore. Initially, Redcore only offered one desktop version, an LXQt version. Now they offer both an LXQt edition and a KDE Plasma edition. Today I'm going to take a look at Redcore 1812 LXQt. Let's get started. Redcore Linux 1812. Let's take a look at the release announcement. So if I go to redcorelinux.org, again, the release was yesterday, I believe, February 8th. I'm recording this on February 9th. Anyway, right here on the redcorelinux.org webpage, we have the release announcement. What are some of the big changes from this version, from the last version? Well, of course, we get a resync with the Gentoo portage tree. Also, we have a new Grub theme, a new Plymouth theme, updates to Firefox, Opera, and Vivaldi. I'm not sure if all 3 browsers are installed on the system together. We'll see here in just a second. For those of you running the Plasma version, you got updates for the KDE frameworks, the KDE apps, and of course Plasma itself. VLC saw an update. They upgraded to version 3.0.6. Vassal also saw some improvements. That is their versatile advanced script for ISO and latest enhancements. Today I'm of course taking a look at the LXQt spin. So that particular spin of Redcore saw some improvements, backported some improvements from LXQt 0.14, so now PCManFM-QT looks pretty, so that's good. I like PCManFM, it's one of my favorite GUI file managers, but I want it to look good, so I'm glad they made that improvement there in the LXQt version. Sisyphus saw some minor improvements. One thing to note, Redcore version 1812, due to some of the under-the-hood layout changes they made, this release does break backwards compatibility with previous versions. So they recommend that you do a fresh install if you want to upgrade to 1812. They say, although an upgrade is possible, it's going to take a few hours to complete, and it might break on you anyway. So you know what? If you already got all your data backed up, a fresh install, again, is strongly recommended. So today what I'm going to do is I'm going to, again, download the 1812 LXQt edition, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to run through the install and take a look at this inside a virtual machine. I'm going to install it inside VirtualBox. Alright, so I downloaded the ISO. One thing to note was the ISO is rather large in size. Let me get the exact size on that for you guys. Let's see. 2.7 gigs. That was for the LXQt edition. So that's pretty heavy, especially for something running a lightweight desktop environment like the LXQt desktop environment. The Plasma edition, I'm sure, is probably going to be similar in size, maybe even a little bigger. So, and in the release announcements, I believe they did warn you that the ISO size now has increased a little bit. I'm not exactly sure why the ISO size has increased. I'm assuming is they're putting more on the ISO so you don't have to do any kind of like net installations during the install. So hopefully the installation maybe goes a little quicker. I'm not sure. I'll find out. Although the installation of Redcore has never been a lengthy installation. I've taken a look at Redcore 4 or 5 times on the channel, installed it in VMs, I don't know, a dozen times. I've installed it, tested it out on some of my real hardware, played around with it a couple of times. Although it's not a distro that I would be able to live in on any of my physical machines just yet, not due to any deficiencies in Redcore as far as the operating system or the package management or anything. It's just it doesn't have enough mirrors, so some of the package management stuff is slow where I'm at in the US. Anyway, I'm waiting for the live desktop to load, and as always here we have to enter a username and password, and I always have to go back to the Redcore website to figure out what the live username and pass is, so give me just a second. So the user for the live environment is Redcore and the password is Redcore. So I always have to look that up because I never can remember that. So let's get back to the VM. And Redcore, by the way, the font is not showing here. Oh well, but I did type Redcore. and hit enter. And that was kind of a buggy screen. The font did not show in the password field. Like it didn't give you any kind of clue that you actually typed anything. Also, the background of that particular login manager was kind of funny. Some weird graphical glitches. But anyway, we're into the live environment. I'm not going to do much in the live environment. I just want to get the thing installed. So I'm just going to launch the Redcore installer. Ask me, do I want to execute? Of course, I want to execute this. And we wait a second for the Redcore installer to launch. And looks like they're going to use the Calamares installer. I believe that's the same installer they've been using. The Calamares installer. Great installer. It's very quick. You hit OK 3 or 4 times and you're done, basically. Time zone. I am in the central time zone here in the US, so Chicago works for me. Same time zone I'm in. Default English US keyboard. Yeah, that's fine for me. Now, partitioning, I just want to erase the disk and give the entire 25 gigs of this VM that I created to Redcore. If I wanted to do some manual partitioning, I could click manual partitioning and then partition the drive myself, but I'm just going to give the whole disk to Redcore and let it do its automatic partitioning. Alright, what's my name? DT will be my username on this VM. We need to create a strong and complicated password for the DT user. And then we need to repeat that strong and complicated password. Alright, and log in automatically without asking for a password. I don't like ticking that on. The reason I created that strong and complicated password is so I'd be asked for that password. So I'm not going to tick on log in automatically. I will tick on use the same password for the administrator account. That way the sudo account and the DT user's password are the same. Click next, and we get a little summary here, a review. Location is good. Keyboard looks good. Partition scheme looks good. Click next. Click install now. You click install now, it's going to format the drive and begin the installation. Usually this portion of the most Linux installs takes 10, maybe 15 minutes. I believe the Redcore installation takes a little longer than that. I want to say oftentimes I have to wait about 20 minutes or so for the Redcore installation to complete here. So I'm going to pause the VM and I'll be back once the install has completed. Just briefly, you guys saw that the slideshow or whatever didn't start initially. I just had a solid blue screen, but when I maximized the installer window, all of a sudden, you know, everything is displaying correctly. The slideshow is showing, although it looks like the images are upside down and reversed. That's really weird. But the installer is working just fine. It's you know, unsquashing the file system right now. You know, I'm sure the install is going to go fine. It's just weird how the slideshow images are reversed and, you know, they're mirrored. Kind of strange. And the installation has completed. As always with the Calamares installer, you need to go to the bottom left here and tick on Restart Now, and then click Done, and your machine should reboot. Those of you doing this on physical hardware, this is where you would need to unplug the USB stick or take out the whatever install media, DVD or whatever you're using to install Redcore, probably a USB stick. Anyway, let me reboot the VM. And I have rebooted my freshly installed Redcore Linux 1812 LXQt. Let's see how long boot up time takes. By the way, the installer took about the same amount of time as what it seemed like it took in the past, 20, maybe 25 minutes. A little longer than like your standard Ubuntu and Fedora kind of installs, but still not that long. Overall, pretty fast installer, considering, again, it's a Gentoo-based distribution. And a bunch of services are launching. Alright, we got to our login manager. I will say the login manager still doesn't look quite right. The font here, the time and date, I'm assuming is what's supposed to be showing here. And now we need to log in. Of course, I created the DT username and then gave him a password. So the VirtualBox guest editions are not working out of the box here in Redcore, but that's fine. I just simply zoomed in here so you can see what's going on. The resolution, well, wasn't incredibly small. It's like a 1024 kind of resolution. Sometimes you get them as small as 800 or less, and that's kind of tough to deal with, but this one we can work with. So before we get started, really, let's check out what is installed by default on Redcore Linux, the LXQt edition. Again, the ISO was almost 3 gigs in size, so you would expect quite a bit of stuff to be installed, and there is. Under the accessories category, we have Arc, which is the KDE archive manager. So this would be for zip, unzip, tar-gz, that sort of thing. We go to About Arc. It's Arc version 18.12.1. Again, the KDE apps have been upgraded. Most of them should be on 18.12.1. Also under accessories, we have Featherpad. Featherpad is a lightweight plain text editor. I believe it is a Qt app. Yeah, based on Qt 5. So your standard plain text editor. Not much to it, but again, LXQt makes sense to have a Qt plain text editor. Lightweight as well. The LXQt desktop environment is designed to be very minimal, very fast, very light on resources. Kcalc is our calculator. Makes sense, one of the KDE apps. You're going to see a lot of KDE apps in the LXQt desktop environment because they're Qt apps. They work well in the LXQt desktop environment. This is Kcalc 18.12.1 as well. Kcalc is really a powerful little calculator because it has so many neat modes, like the scientific mode for those that want to do some more advanced stuff with a calculator. KeyPass is also here. PCManFM-Qt is the file manager, and they mentioned they had made some improvements, especially to how pretty PCManFM looks, and I would agree. PCManFM, this is about as nice as I've ever seen PCManFM as far as attractiveness. This is really not bad. Let's see what version of PCManFM-Qt they're running. 0.13. So really pretty cool. I like the Qt theme that they've got going on. I like the icon set as well. You know, just a plain black and white icon set, but it fits with the overall theme here. No, looks are not everything, but you know what? First impressions, they do mean something. And first impressions of Redcore out of the box are really attractive desktop, kind of polished desktop. Clipper is our clipboard manager. If I launch it, you will see Clipper appear down here in the sys tray. This is our clipboard. Also, we have a games category. Lutris and Steam are both here under the games category. I'm sure they're not installed, but if I clicked Steam, it would probably launch the Steam installer. I don't want to install Steam in this VM though. Graphics, we have GIMP installed. Now that is interesting because GIMP is a GTK app. It is the original GTK app. So they're not sticking strictly with Qt apps, which I'm kind of glad they didn't do that, because if I want an image editor, GIMP's the best free and open source software image editor we have. GIMP 2.10, it looks like we're on here. And if we go to About GIMP, yep, GIMP 2.10.8. GIMP is the program that I use for all the artwork on my YouTube channel. Actually, that's what I use to do the thumbnails. You know, I'm not really much of an artist, but GIMP, I can do some stuff in GIMP. LX image is also installed under graphics, and we have a screenshot utility also. Under internet, we have conversation with a K for an IRC chat client. Let me launch that. That's the KDE IRC chat client. And by default, it's going to try to connect to the Redcore Linux IRC chat channel, I guess their support channel over on the Freenode network. That is awesome. So if for some reason you're having trouble with your Redcore installation, you can just launch Conversation, and it should take you directly to the Redcore Linux support channel over on the Freenode network. Also under Internet, we have Mozilla Firefox and Mozilla Thunderbird. Firefox, again, has been updated to version 65. And you launch Firefox for the first time, you get a couple of tabs that open. One of them is a privacy notice, I guess, from last September, where Mozilla is telling you, hey, privacy is fundamental to a healthy internet. Let's close those tabs and get out of Firefox. All right, also under Internet, we had a BitTorrent client, QBitTorrent. Under Office, we have the entire LibreOffice suite. We have Base, Calc, Draw, Impress, Math, and Writer. And we have QPDFView for a PDF viewer. Under Programming, we have some cute stuff. Redcore, we have a Redcore category in the menu, and this is for Gentoo documentation as well as Redcore documentation. We have a link to the Redcore Linux bug tracker, their Git repos, and of course the official Redcore Linux website. So clicking any of those, I'm sure would just launch your web browser and take you straight to those sites. We have a sound and video category. Cantata, I guess, is our default music player. It's an MPD music player. I'm not going to take the time to try to set it up here in the VM, but Cantata is a nice music player. You've seen one audio player, you've seen them all. Also, we have K3B installed by default on Redcore. K3B is probably the best free and open source software disk burning utility we have in Linux. I install K3B on all my systems, regardless of whether I'm running KDE or not. I never install KDE, but there's two KDE apps I always install on every system. K3B for a disk burning utility. Yes, I still burn disks. And of course, Kdenlive is my video editor of choice. It's what I use to edit video for the channel. Under sound and video, we have the Pulse Audio volume control installed. We have Simple Screen Recorder installed. That's interesting. VLC, of course, is installed. Now, let's check the version. Again, VLC saw an upgrade to 3.0.6. So, the latest VLC. Also under sound and video, we have VidCutter. We have GUVCView, which is a webcam app. And, of course, MPV for the media player, although you're probably going to use VLC rather than MPV, but both are there. Under system tools, let's see, we have HTOP. I installed HTOP because I wanted to take a look at system resources. Now let this settle down for a minute. I've got a few things going in the sys tray. Let me quit the clipboard. Everything else was what was already running by default, and you can see, very lightweight. CPU usage is practically nothing. I gave this VM 2 cores of my 6-core CPU. Gave this VM 4 gigs of RAM to work with, but it's only using 314 megs of RAM currently. So that is very small for a full desktop environment. The LXQt desktop environment, of course, is a fully functional desktop environment. You know, nice menu system, suite of apps, nice panel, sys tray, everything you want. Also under system tools, we have our KDE partition manager. We have our print manager. Of course, the terminal is the Qt terminal. The Qt terminal is actually a really nice terminal. This is not what I was trying to get. That's about Qt itself. I wanted about Qt terminal. A lightweight multi-platform terminal emulator. This is version 0.9.0. All right, let's do a quick uname space -r. We are on... Oh, well, that's interesting. They're using the LTS kernel for Redcore, so they're using 4.14 for the kernel. I like 4.14. I'm still using 4.14 LTS on my Manjaro install on my main production machine. I tend to stick to LTS kernels. I don't hate that. Also under System Tools, we have the Sisyphus GUI. So this is the graphical user interface to the Sisyphus package manager. You can, of course, use the command line. I, of course, could link you to the page to show you the command line functionality for Sisyphus, but I rarely ever show you guys how to do things in the GUI, so let's focus on the GUI today. So let's pick an app that I know wasn't installed, but I want to install. So let's pick something kind of small. Ranger for a file manager. See if Ranger is actually available. It is not. Now, of course, if I hadn't already synced the repos, I probably need to sync the repos. Is there a button down here to sync the repos? Well, there is this for upgrading the system. Upgrading the system, of course, would sync the repos. So if I hit this button, it says, I am upgrading the system. Please be patient. I'll be patient. I'll pause the video for a minute. And there shouldn't be really any upgrades because, again, this was released yesterday. One thing, it's taking a little bit of time to run this upgrade, even though I doubt there's any packages upgrading. It's probably slow mirrors. Again, there's only like 2 mirrors, 3 mirrors, I think, for Redcore, which is why, even though I love the distribution, I could never run it on my main production machine because there's just not enough mirrors, and the package management is just a little too slow. But let me search for another package. So Ranger wasn't here, but IRC is here, the IRC chat client. IRC, Ranger should be here too, but IRC, the reason it's here and Ranger is not is because this is just the binary packages that can be installed through the Sisyphus package manager. Now, being a Gentoo based Linux distribution, you could emerge. You could use emerge at the command line and you could get anything you want. Anything that's available on Gentoo, which practically every package known to man should be able to install on a Gentoo based system with emerge. But using emerge, of course, you're compiling from source. That's slow. if you can install something with a binary, it would be much faster. So URSI is available, but watch what happens. You see down here, I typed URSI, it says found 1. Now let me back up here. So I'm going to backspace and delete everything. And now it says found 1,977. So that's how many, I guess, binary packages, how many binary builds are available in the Sisyphus package manager as of now. That's basically 2,000 binaries available. Probably all of your most common apps will be available as a binary build. So I like that. Those that are not, of course, then you're going to have to, of course, compile them using a merge. The upgrade, I guess I shouldn't have chose the upgrade, because even though it's, again, it's probably not going to upgrade anything. Man, this is slow. What, I'm going to minimize this. Let's go to a terminal. I mentioned the mirrors. Let's cd/etc. The mirrors, the mirror list should be probably somewhere in the /etc folder. So I'm going to do a quick, you know what, let's do some bash commands, right? How about find? I love find. Find space dash iname, if I can type correctly, and then how about asterisk mirror asterisk. Oh, and all right. So in /etc there is a folder called Sisyphus, and in that Sisyphus folder there is mirrors.conf. That's what we want. So vim Sisyphus mirrors.conf. Let's take a look at the mirror list. And uncomment only one mirror from the list below. It's already got one mirror uncommented, and it is in the USA. It's Princeton University. And let's see how many mirrors were available. Basically, we got one in the USA. There's one in Germany and one in Russia. So 3 mirrors, right? Yeah, that was it. So there's 3 mirrors. That's part of why... Oh, I didn't want to get into insert mode here. Definitely did not want to change that file. Close that. Close the terminal. Alright, anyway, looks like the upgrade finally quit. So let's see how long it would take me to install URSI. I'm curious, now that we went through all that trouble, if I highlighted it. And is this one? Install package. Just wondering if everything is going to be as slow as apparently how long it took to basically sync the system a second ago. Because URSI should just be that quick of an install. On a Debian-based system with apt, or on an Arch-based system with Pacman, I mean like 3 seconds. URSI, there's nothing to URSI, it's a very small program. You see it's fetching something from that mirror in Princeton, and it's merging the binary, so it is installing a binary. But it's definitely taking a lot longer than it would on your standard Debian or Arch-based system. I'm going to pause the video. I don't know how long this is going to take. And I didn't need to pause the video. It only took, after I paused the video, it probably took another 10, maybe 15 seconds. So not horribly long, but if it takes that long to install something like URSI, which again is a very small program, you know, like a full KDE Plasma upgrade for those of you running the Plasma desktop on Redcore, you know, that might take an hour. And of course, you guys know I got to take a look at the wallpapers. So if I right click on the desktop and choose desktop preferences, I'm going to go to backgrounds. The backgrounds are located in user share backgrounds, standard on most Linux distros. So let me navigate to that folder because it doesn't automatically take me there. So user share backgrounds, and let's take a look at the ones in the Redcore community folder. And I think that's the one that's already, yeah, that's the one we were already using. So let's go back to backgrounds and let's do by Melita. I'm guessing this is somebody that submitted their own artwork or maybe their own photos. And hit apply. Yeah, not a bad photograph. And these are not bad. Let's see, other than the photographs, let's see what else we have. Let's hit apply. Yeah, some abstract art. This is from some of the older releases of Redcore. I've seen many of these before. Let's try Luna here. Yeah, kind of neat. They have a nature category. Let's see, how about field? Not bad. Since I have a light colored theme going on in Redcore, you see the silver bar and the silver windows, it'd be better to have like a dark wallpaper. Maybe I can find something kind of dark. Let's see. Yeah, that's not bad. I'll go with that. I don't like having icons on my desktop. I wonder if hide desktop items. Yeah, I like that. I like having quick launchers on my taskbar, so in LXQt, I'm assuming I could take my most used applications and put them right here where it says drop application icons. So one of my most often used applications is, of course, the terminal. Let's drag the Qt terminal down here. Awesome. All right, of course I need the file manager, PCManFM, and I drag it down there. Yep. And maybe one more. Let's see if we can get the web browser down there somewhere. All right. Just doing that, I'm almost ready to just rock and roll, right? I could live happily ever after with the LXQt desktop environment. I love the window manager. That, by the way, it uses the OpenBox window manager. Let's see if I can find the OpenBox configs. So if I go to Preferences, LXQt Settings, OpenBox Settings. So this is where we could change the OpenBox theme. The OpenBox theme is the border around the window, basically, is the OpenBox theme. So if I go to Redcore Nighttime, see the border changed to this gray color. Daylight was the default. We have Onyx Citrix, Onyx Natura, Mikachu, Clear Looks. Yeah, none of these really look good. You know what? I'm going to go back to Redcore Daylight. That's definitely the best one of the bunch for the OpenBox themes. For those of you that are interested in security, there is a firewall here, Firewall Manager, and I believe they use the uncomplicated firewall, UFW, same firewall that Ubuntu uses, and many other Linux distributions. Yeah, the uncomplicated firewall. Very easy to set up. UFW front ends. This is version 0.3.2. So that was just a very quick installation and first look of Redcore Linux 1812. Redcore, an impressive Linux distribution for such a small project. Not a big development team behind it. I think it's mainly just a one-person job. Talked to the developer a little bit in the past. A fella named Gunhan, I believe, is his name. I probably didn't pronounce that correctly, but the developer is great because anytime you have a problem, for example, I mentioned, the binary packages, with the Sisyphus GUI, if something you use is not available, you could contact the dev and he might actually build it for you. And oftentimes he does, so it might be something, it's really nice when you see these projects that have a developer that really is listening. So if you guys are interested in a Gentoo-based Linux distribution that uses the LXQt desktop environment, I strongly advise taking a look at Redcore Linux 1812 LXQt. Before I go, I have to thank a few special people. This show was made possible by Ansem, Carlos, Chris, Dylan, Leor, Rob, Robert, and Tony. They are producers of the show. They are my highest tiered patrons over on Patreon. Without these guys, these shows wouldn't be possible. Show was also brought to you by all those fine ladies and gentlemen, all those names on the screen, each and every one of them. They help support my work over on Patreon. If you'd like to support the channel, please consider doing so. You'll find me at DistroTube over on Patreon. Peace, guys.